If your goal is to raise an independent, responsible child, there's one parenting trap that is surprisingly easy to fall into, and most parents don't even realize it's happening. This isn't about permissive parenting. It's not about lazy parenting. It's not even about children throwing tantrums to get whatever they want. In fact, some of the most loving and thoughtful parents slowly drift into this pattern because they care so deeply about their children. Today, I want to show you how to recognize it, what it eventually creates, and how positive discipline can help children become truly independent. Most parents practicing child-led parenting don't actually realize they're doing it. The reason is simple. Parents never actually plan to let their child lead the whole family. It happens one decision at a time. You avoid one unnecessary conflict. You make one exception. You postpone one responsibility. You quietly rearrange one plan because it feels easier than dealing with the reaction. None of those decisions are wrong by themselves. The problem is what happens when it becomes the pattern. One subtle sign is that you start thinking about your child's likely reaction before deciding what's actually best. Sometimes avoiding conflict is wise, but if your child's reactions consistently influence your parenting decisions, their emotions have quietly become part of the decision-making process. Another sign is that disappointment feels like something that you're trying to prevent instead of something that a child should know how to safely walk through. Of course, we don't want our children hurting, but disappointment isn't harm. Disappointment is practice. This builds resilience. Here's another clue. Notice who does most of the adapting. Parents should absolutely sacrifice for their children. That's part of parenting. But over time, is your child gradually learning how to adapt to family life? Or is family life gradually adapting to your child? That single question often can reveal more than any parenting checklist. The good news is that if you're recognizing this in yourself, you're not a bad parent. You're probably a loving parent that has slowly drifted into a pattern many families experience. The question is, what if that pattern continues? Child-led parenting doesn't usually create problems overnight. Instead, it quietly delays one of the biggest parenting goals, independence. When children don't regularly practice adapting to limits, disappointment, responsibility, and other people's needs, those skills simply develop more slowly. They aren't born knowing how to hear the word no. They learn it. They aren't born knowing how to recover from disappointment. They learn it. They aren't born knowing how to take responsibility for their mistakes. They learn it. Every time we lovingly allow for one of those experiences, we're building a future independent child. When we consistently remove those experiences, we're usually removing the practice alongside them. Ironically, child-led parenting can actually make a child more anxious. Children aren't designed to carry the emotional weight of the family. When they sense their reactions influence the adults around them, this can create some uncertainty, not security. Children relax when loving adults confidently lead. Eventually, these small patterns show up outside the home. Teachers won't change because a student is frustrated. Employers won't remove tasks because they feel too difficult. Healthy marriages require compromise. Friendships require flexibility. Adulthood requires emotional stability. Those skills begin long before adulthood. They begin in the little moments at home. So if child-led parenting quietly delays independence, what grows it? Positive discipline is often misunderstood. Some people think it to mean just be gentle. Some think it means avoid the consequences, neither of which are true. Positive discipline is about calm leadership that eventually transfers responsibility to the child. It asks a different question. Instead of asking, how do I get my kid to obey? It asks, what responsibility is my child capable of carrying now? Then it lovingly expects them to carry it. Positive discipline does not rescue a child from every uncomfortable outcome. It teaches them how to handle uncomfortable outcomes. It doesn't remove every obstacle. It coaches children through obstacles. It doesn't make parents responsible for every problem. It gradually teaches children how to become responsible for themselves. That means holding boundaries without anger, allowing natural consequences whenever it's safe, giving children meaningful responsibilities, expecting contribution, not perfection, and remembering that our goal is not to raise children who need us forever. It's raising adults who can solve problems, think wisely, care for others, and eventually run a home of their own. Independence isn't created by doing more for our children. It's created by preparing them to do more for themselves. And that's exactly what positive discipline is designed to accomplish. If this idea resonated with you, you are who this channel is for. Here we talk about positive discipline, family systems, organization, and practical ways to raise capable, responsible kids. Because our goal isn't a peaceful home today. It's to prepare our children to flourish long after they leave it.